I'll relate this to development
Mhm.
because that's my world. That's what I know. So it is a very common thing. You see news articles all the time that no one is hiring a junior dev anymore, right? I only want senior people who can help me use this new amazing magical tool and move forward. But I wonder again, as business owners, you are task thinking, you want your business, none of you guys are super old. So your business got 20, 30 years left in it, right? So if you don't ever hire a junior anybody, then you never mold into a senior anybody, right? The next generation of senior whatevers don't exist if we don't train the juniors to become that. What do you feel is your responsibility there? Or do you think, you know what, I'll just keep finding those seniors. I don't care. Again, no wrong answers.
And real quickly, and then everybody else can answer. I think the new juniors will be the seniors of today. So, everybody just steps up a level. So the high school education, maybe everybody comes out with a college education, and that's your starting point. And maybe it sounds
Well,
paradoxical,
I mean,
but
but
I'm
that
saying
would take a long
look at
time, right?
look
That's
the
a
starting
paradigm
point.
shift there. I'm talking 5 years from now. That paradigm shift won't happen. That might, but not in 5 years.
But there's a lot of people that are using AI right now that are doing things they could have never done 2 or 3 years ago. So
For
to
sure.
me, they already that you may call them junior, but they're already senior compared to what the. And I just think everything just moves up a level, and where your starting point is just higher up in your. You already start out at year 5 of your music of playing piano. I don't know. That's my.
No,
I
that's
think we
fair.
have to redefine what
Kyle, what do you
the.
think?
I think we have to redefine what the juniors are
Mhm.
doing, right? It used to be you'd come into a company and you'd throw together PowerPoints for the partners, and that was your job. And that's no longer a full time job. And what can they be doing? These same people who are cheating on their papers using AI could potentially come in and be the sort of native AI expert who's leveraging AI or helping the company leverage AI, et cetera. I think we have to peel it back, and the traditional jobs, the traditional entry level jobs, a lot of those are going to be going away, especially in the professional world. And so what do the new entry level jobs look like? And I think in a lot of sense, they're going to be given to people who really know how to use AI better than, somebody who's used to doing things the same way and has been doing the same way for 30 years.
Eric, I know you
There's
have an opinion.
there's some precedent here, right? Like I was in undergrad in the late 90s, early 2000s when I was working in IT when there was local area networking and people got Blackberries, and these were pretty smart people. Like I was working like in the business school, like working with professors world renowned, world class in their field that could not operate a printer or operate a BlackBerry. And it created a great opportunity for me because I just knew how to do that stuff. And they were like total Luddites. And we'll see another version of that. Like there's going to be a generation of people that just don't care to learn this stuff or don't want to learn this stuff. And then there's going to be, hopefully, my kids and the kids, my kids' school, if I have any influence at all, that are going to like just be born into these tools and be superhuman. And I think there's the Sam Altman case or whatever. Like, oh, just think about all of the flowers that are going to bloom. And yeah, maybe. Or think about what people don't need or think about what gets eliminated. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is there, but I think there's going to be this weird hollowing out of there's going to be the people that just don't buy into it or just can't get it for whatever reason. And they're just going to get overtaken by these youngsters. I don't think it's like the new entry level as the seniors. I think it's actually some 19-year-old is the senior employee.
Or it could be.
The kid that was going to come in and I don't know, be an intern is like, oh, wow, you're better at this than me. You're hired. I
I
think
don't
that's
really think there's
probably
a choice. There's more ethical, moral thing about it, but I'm just thinking this is a global phenomenon, global arms race in a sense. You either get with it or you get run over by it in a sense. It sounds pretty Darwinian, but just I'm doing it partly because I have to do it, not because I'm trying to make a moral decision or ethical decision. I'm
yeah.
trying to make a decision so my company survive to the next round so that I can now play another round.
Yeah, I think
I think a lot of the necessity is going to come from consumer
Right.
expectations, right? SaaS in particular has been slow leveling up over time. When it first started in the early 2000s, it was, hey, you fill out forms, you twist these knobs, and oh, look, it regurgitates back the data in a
Yeah.
graph or something, right? And then there were APIs, and all of a sudden data started magically appear. So it was like slowly creeping up, getting more sophisticated. And this is just off the charts in terms of a step change where all of a sudden people are expecting software to do magical things for them, like with them just giving it very vague instructions. And I think you have to keep up. You have to keep up with this because everybody's going to be expecting your software to be magical. And so I don't think there's much of a choice if you're in software and are in really anything consumer facing to where you need to adopt this stuff to meet expectations.
Very good. Okay. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We have mentioned a lot of vendors and things that you have used. You mentioned Replit. I think everybody's using Replit. We are Cursor people. Tell me some other ones. I think that is, if you are a new founder and you're dipping your toe in this, because no one's an expert, which I think is hilarious. It's like you see all these people on LinkedIn and whatever. I'm an expert. No, you're not. None of this stuff. And if you were an expert a month ago, you're not anymore because it just changed again. And I find that so interesting. So everyone's kind of dipping their toe in the water. What tools do you recommend? We mentioned Replit. Are there other ones, things that you found that are borderline magical that you brought in, things that have helped you build? Again, if you want to talk about those tools, I'm always fascinated to find new tools. So what are some of your faves that you found?
My software developers, I want to say they cheat a little bit too, but they use Cursor as well. And they said that even my CTO, he probably going to kill me for saying this. He said that he took a bite of the apple there and it's actually increased his productivity by what normally would take a week is now a day. And it's not like he gets to go home after one day and work one day a week. It's allowed him to iterate and try many different things. To me, as much as they're saying we're getting out of work, to me, it just makes us more productive for the time we are working. So instead of taking a year, you can do it in 3 months, which is better for your business, better for your customers.
Yep. So we got to vote for Cursor. Anybody else have any favorite tools?
I can't recommend it as a tool because I really haven't used it enough, but I think this is where I was explaining earlier how I don't know who the winners are going to be because too much pace of innovation is just too fast. I used one the other day. It's a Y Combinator company that just launched and it's called Blink. And I think it's at blink.new. But it basically does what these vibe coders do, except you can just basically put in instructions of just replicate this site and then hit a button. And it builds it, it deploys it, and it hosts it. And so all of a sudden, like you've got this thing sitting at apollo.blink.new. So it does all that with a one sentence instruction, which is mind blowing to me because I've dabbled with some of the other ones, Lovable specifically. And I do remember it was a bit of a chore to actually get the thing in productions. I just think some of these ones that have had phenomenal growth over the past 6 months, like who knows, like they may be a legacy solution that circles the bowl after the next thing comes out. There's just too much innovation going on to where you can count on anything to be persistent over the long term.
Eric, you got any faves?
My favorite products are the ones that are 5% the cost of the current products that I can replace.
You keep squeezing the lemon even more.
It's like, wow. So we use the Active Campaign for email. It's like $6 or $8 grand a year, just pretty cheap because we were on something that was a lot more expensive.
Right.
And then I had the reminder that the renewal was coming up. I was like, why wouldn't I, honestly, why wouldn't I just take 6 hours, fire up Replit and a SendGrid API key, and I could probably build like almost everything that I need because I don't need to track click-throughs. I just need a way to get a lot of email to different audiences at different times. I don't need like a fully baked, overly engineered, bloated SaaS product to do what I need to do. And so I can do this myself for a little bit of time. Or there's another one that I think it was called Loops or something like that. It's like $100 a month. It's okay. We'll just use that. And the thing is like, that's going to keep happening, especially now that Paolo told me about blink.new because that's exactly where this is going to go.
There's a kind of a little rule of thumb there because I'm not ditching my software people. So anybody listening there should not be concerned. There's a part here where I use like vibe coding for like creating the speedboat, very lean and mean. And I don't have to work. I'm not building the cruise ship that's trying to host 4,000 people on there. So for the robust product that, those are the ones I use my in-house expert staff and my outsourcing. Part of that is also control over your data and security of it and all that stuff. And then the other part is for really quick prototyping or just little widgets and apps that you can just plug in to accentuate something instead of waiting for the whole cruise ship to be built. I think if you're the CEO or CTO, being able to pick the right weapon, the right gun for the right hunt is probably going to be very paramount, because now you have a variety of tools that you can at your disposal instead of only using the same hammer for everything.
Yeah, in context is important, right? Like I'm talking about my small business where,
Right.
I'm not in a regulated industry. I don't have 10,000 employees. If I were the University of North Carolina or
Or
PepsiCo,
selling stocks or something.
yeah, I get that they have a different, but that's small business is a much larger portion of the overall economy. That's exciting because suddenly there are tools that enable scrappy, resourceful, thoughtful people to do a lot without a lot of resources or time.
So as the professional software developer of the crowd here, it is interesting because it's my job at jeopardy. That there's no question that doesn't sit on my shoulders. And it's scary because I use these tools. I'm building a tool for the first time in 12 years. We're building our own product. Why? Because I can do it and visualize it and turn it into code faster than I've ever been able to. Everything you're saying is true. But at the same time, it's like what we do for our clients, which are often larger, but even the startups, we are putting a seal of guarantee because we know what we're doing. One of the things we talk about internally is these tools have all the knowledge, but no wisdom. They've never done anything. And that's where when I was asking about the juniors versus seniors, I agree with you. Those juniors are going to level up and they're going to do things now that our seniors can't do. But there is something to be said about someone who's been in the trenches for a while and have seen the ugly stuff and have gotten through to the other side. That wisdom matters. And I think that there is something to be said about that. And that's good across industries, not just software. Okay, we are running low on time. I have one more question. And it's almost the opposite of what I just asked. You've talked about all the tools. You've talked about all the things that you are using. What do you wish was out there? What AI gizmo, not necessarily startup idea. I'm just saying, what tools are missing? What is the next jump that you see happening? What does that next generation of tools look like to y'all?
I alluded to a little bit. Right now, I've dabbled a little bit because I have my 4 AIs like working together, but it's still in my, or I say the builder's siloed system there. I think the next level, at least with the complex buying a new home customer journey, is having at the top level, and I don't want to use a lot of jargon, but the MCP, where the different major AIs can talk to each other. They're working that model context protocol. They're working at the top, but as you move down the funnel, to be able to connect to all the other businesses and industries that are creating their own AI agents to be able to talk to each other. Because I think there will be a time there where people are going to have autonomous AIs doing the shopping, doing the looking and I would say transactions, but I guess executing tasks. But it's going to be doing it across an entire network of AI agents. So I'm looking forward to having that happen, because particularly buying a new home, there are so many other important agents well beyond my capabilities, financing and insurance, that needs that expert, secure AI agent to be part of the process.
Paolo, what are you looking forward to?
I think this touches on what John was saying, but yeah, I agree that some sort of data interoperability between agents would be a phenomenal new direction. So the fact that these things are siloed, I think, is a little bit painful. So some sort of connectivity layer between them would be really interesting. I also think getting some of these applications built with AI bulletproof and patching security holes and things like that. I'm sure there's stuff that does it. I don't know how reliable it is, but it wasn't obvious to me in my dabbling that there was an end-to-end. Let's go from creating this thing to testing it, to making sure there are no security holes in it, to deploying it. I think whoever can stitch those together, I think it's going to be an interesting level up.
I have one more, and Zuckerberg, Meta, has talked about personal superintelligence, and then Apple, if they ever get their AI straight, talking about putting AI on a chip. And I think, and now this really crosses a lot of privacy things, but if it's AI on a chip that knows every place you've ever been, every transaction you made, all your friends, and all the photos you've taken, and able to take all that knowledge, in a sense, graphically and textually and through texting or whatever, and actually help you in whatever problem you want to solve, whether it's shopping or figure out your next trip or whatever. I think having that personal superintelligence at a private level, I think it'll be transformative to the way people live.
Sounds like a hacker's dream to me.
I'm sure everybody wants to hack into it, but
I
that's what I say. I look forward to not in the cloud, it's a chip on a chip.
It's one of my favorite guys, podcast guys, Nilay Patel over at The Verge. He's like, the killer app for all of these glasses is simply the thing that can recognize everyone you look at and tell you who they are. And all you need is a complete police state to have it. It's like, how much do you really want to give over to these overlords? It has to be a limit somewhere.
It's scary, man. But you think about if you're on social media and anything, I mean, it's already out there. Guys already kind of stitched it together. That's why I actually think if it can go onto your phone on your chip where it's more private and it's rendered there and only stored there, I think you cross over some of those obstacles. But then I'll really buy NVIDIA chips because there'll be another huge chip.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I'm already making my tinfoil hat over here. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I was going to leave everyone with that comment. I think that everything that we can conceive of based on what we know right now is locked in. Like, I think what you described, John, 100% will happen. I think what we don't know is what we don't know.
Right.
And there'll be applications and use cases that we just can't conceive of yet because we don't know where the technology is going to go. And I look forward to just being on a boat somewhere in Eastern North Carolina.
How about AI robot as well? I think
totally outside of all contact with technology and just like drinking a beer.
Island of AI
Eric's going to build a bunker. I am convinced of it. By the end of this conversation, Eric's going to have a bunker. This is what's happening.
Not a bunker, just an attachment. Just
a boat.
What you got to do is pull out the Wi-Fi.
What?
Once you pull the Wi-Fi out, everybody goes back to the Stone Ages.
Oh yeah, and we're going to be even dumber than we ever were before. All right.
Exactly.
Let me rein this in. We're going to do a twist on our normal final question, which you guys have all answered in the past. But I want to ask each of you one piece of advice instead of the three. One piece of advice on if I'm a new business owner and I want to incorporate AI, what is your best advice how do you jump in there? Paolo, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, my advice would be just started, right? I think a certain amount of mystique behind it, but once you sort of dig in there, like it's easy. And so that's certainly how I get it. And you could even argue that even today, having operational this stuff for 6 months or so, it's still pretty modest. We don't use it in everything, but we use it in something. But I understand a lot more than I did, 6 months ago. So get started, use it modestly, something basic like ChatGPT or something that's out there and inexpensive, and just start using it, and you'll get it.
John, you want to weigh in there?
Because I'm king of content in a sense, but also it's really about the data. And I think the data is what's going to differentiate you from all your competition. Like in our industry, our domain is that having all that builders data and all the customer experience there. But if you're able to, you can use ChatGPT or whatever, upload all your webinars, your blogs, your manuals, and all the things that is unique to you and that proprietary data, because AI without that data is dumb as a doorknob. And all the websites have already been scraped. So you don't need what's out there in the public domain. If you're able to now marry that public domain with your private knowledge and expertise, I think that's where you're going to have a strategic advantage.
Very good. Eric, finish us off.
I think talk to it.
Okay.
Just do the voice mode while you're on a long drive by yourself and just talk to it like it's a person. And it remembers things. It's crazy. It remembers things and it's helpful. It's smart.
I'm still struggling with that one. I did that exactly. I was on a home to Charlotte and I had a bunch of AI questions like how to implement it I was noodling on this idea, and I was like, I'm just gonna try it. And it's still super awkward, like to get started, especially. Like you push go, and you're like, hello, you know what I'm saying? And then it starts doing ums and giggling, and you're like, this is so creepy. And then you get over that and you just start asking the questions, and then you're blown away. That's the process.
Talking to it was pretty fun for me, and it's an easy way to just ease into it.
Very good. Well, man, this has been so much fun. This went better than I even imagined, and I had high hopes, and you guys blew it away. So thank you all very, very much for joining. This has been so much fun.
That wraps up this episode of the Biz Dev Podcast. And this time you get me, Scott Bailey. I am the lead dev over here at Big Pixel, and I know what you're thinking. I thought David did all the work. Well, not exactly. We have an awesome team of people to back him up. BizDev is a production of Big Pixel, a US-based provider of UX design, strategy, and custom software. This podcast is edited by Audio Wiz, Matt McCracken, and Christy Pronto, marketing guru for Big Pixel. Want to connect? Shoot us an email at hello@thebigpixel.net, or you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn.